Friends, today we are discussing the important questions from the chapter Chemical Reactions and Chemical Equations. Already we have started this chapter, so this is the next part of that chapter. Okay, already we have discussed the MCQ questions as well as 1 mark questions, right? So today we are discussing the short answer questions as well as long answer questions. Okay, I hope all are ready to listen the class. Please be ready with your notebook and pen. First question is, add same amount of barium chloride solution to a test tube containing 5 ml of sodium sulfate solution. Then, which insoluble white precipitate is formed? Second one, name the ions responsible for the formation of white precipitate. Mention the type of chemical reaction took place here. So, this is the 3 mark questions here. When the barium chloride BaCl2 reacts with sodium sulfate Na2SO4 sodium sulfate, then it forms the barium sulfate and sodium chloride NaCl. So this is the reaction. Here the barium sulfate that forms the white precipitate. Which insoluble white precipitate is formed here? Barium sulfate insoluble white precipitate is formed here. Name the ions responsible for the formation of the white precipitate. Here barium ions and sulfate ions. Barium ions and sulfate ions are responsible for this formation of this white precipitate. And mention the type of chemical reaction that took place here. The type of chemical reaction, that is double displacement reaction, because the exchange of ions takes place in between the reactant. So it is called as a double displacement reaction. Double displacement reaction. Okay. So like this you should write the answer. The sodium sulfate and barium chloride reaction. Barium sulfate is formed, that is the white precipitate. Next question. Calcium oxide and carbon dioxide are produced on heating the calcium carbonate. Write the balanced chemical equation for the reaction. Mention the type of this chemical reaction. Here first you have to write calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3. When it is heated, it produces calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. So this reaction, see whether it's balanced or not. Yes, it is balanced here. Solid state. Okay. This is the balanced chemical reaction of the calcium carbonate. When it is heated, it forms the calcium oxide and the carbon dioxide. Mention the type of this chemical reaction. This is the decomposition reaction. Decomposition reaction. Because single reactant able to produce two or more products, so that is called as a decomposition reaction. Please note down the question along with the answer. Question. The chemical reaction that takes place between sodium sulfate and barium chloride is called double displacement reaction. Why? Okay. The reaction between the sodium sulfate and barium chloride is called double displacement reaction. Write the balanced chemical equation for this reaction. Here, sodium sulfate and barium chloride. Sodium sulfate, Na2SO4 is BaSO4 plus 2N. Here, Na2 is the 2NaCl, chlorine 2. Yes, this is the balanced chemical reaction. You have to write the physical state of these reactants and products. Here, why it is called as a double displacement reaction? Why this is called as a double displacement reaction? Because there is an exchange of the ions takes place in between the reactant. Barium ion, so that fuses with the sulfate, that forms the barium sulfate, and chlorine that fuses with the sodium, that forms the sodium chloride. So there is a exchange of ions takes place in between the reactant. So it is called as a double displacement reaction. Okay. And this is the balanced chemical equation for this reaction. Please note down the question. What is the type of chemical reaction in which quicklime is obtained by the limestone calcium carbonate? Write the chemical equation for this reaction. So this is same. Well, when the calcium carbonate is heated, when the calcium carbonate is heated, it forms the calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. So this is the chemical reaction. This is the decomposition reaction. Here, write the chemical equation for this reaction. You should write the balanced chemical equation for this reaction. Okay. And as well as you have to mention the type of the chemical reaction. What type of the chemical reaction it is? Already we have, we know this type of question, please note down the answer. Next question. Zinc oxide reacts with the carbon and forms the zinc and carbon monoxide here. In this reaction, name the reactant that is oxidized and that is reduced. So, these two are called as reactants and these are called as products. Here, zinc is reduced here, carbon is oxidized. That is oxidized. The reactant which is oxidized, that is carbon, because it is the oxygen and become carbon monoxide. Oxygen is here, and which is reduced. Zinc oxide is reduced and it forms the zinc. So here, in this reaction, name the reactant that is oxidized, that is carbon, that is reduced is the zinc oxide. Okay, so this is a 2-mark question. Question. Write the balanced chemical equation for the following chemical reactions. You should write the chemical reaction for this given. First one, calcium carbonate, when it is heated, it forms the calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Hydrogen and chlorine, which forms the hydrogen chloride. Magnesium and hydrochloric acid, that is magnesium chloride and hydrogen. Here, calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3, that is in a solid state. When it is heated, it forms the calcium oxide, CaO, solid state, and plus carbon dioxide, that is in the gaseous state, right? So calcium carbonate, when it is heated, calcium oxide and carbon dioxide is formed here. This is the chemical reaction. Hydrogen H2 is the gas and chlorine Cl2, that is also gas. Hydrogen and chlorine, that forms the HCl. Hydrogen and chlorine, when they react, they form the 2HCl. This is the balanced chemical equation. Then magnesium, when it reacts with the hydrochloric acid, it forms the magnesium chloride MgCl2 plus hydrogen. Magnesium chloride plus hydrogen. Okay, so here also MgCl2, 2 hydrogen, 2Hc. So like this, you should write the balanced chemical reaction. Okay, mention the physical state also, physical state of each reactant and the product. Which type of chemical reaction takes place when an iron nail is dipped in copper sulfate solution? Why? Write the balanced chemical equation for this reaction, chemical reaction. Which type of a chemical reaction takes place when iron nail, that is, iron nail means Fe, when it is dipped in a copper sulfate, that is CuSO4, copper sulfate solution, it forms the, what type of the product it forms? It forms the ferrous chloride, ferrous sulfate plus copper is displaced. Here, which type of the chemical reaction it is? Is displacement reaction. Is displacement reaction. Displacement reaction. Why it is a displacement reaction? Because iron which is having more reactivity, more reactivity that displace the copper from the copper sulfate solution, which displace the copper, which is having the less reactivity than the iron, which displace the copper from the copper sulfate solution. Okay, so that is the reaction FeSO4 plus Cu. Okay, so write the balanced chemical equation for this reaction. Yes, this is the balanced chemical equation. Should mention the physical state, that is S aqueous, then S. So like this you should mention the physical state of this reactants and the products. Okay, so like this you should write the answer. Tips of zinc, iron, magnesium and copper are taken in the test tube A, B, C and D respectively. Same quantity of ferrous sulfate solution is added to these test tubes. In which test tube the chemical reactions will occur? Why? Write the chemical equation for the reactions taking place here. First you have to note down the question. Here, zinc. So we have to take up 4 test tubes. 1, 2, A, B, C, D, right? 4 test tubes like this. Test tubes. And here in the first test tube, zinc. The second test tube, iron and copper in the third test tube, like sorry, magnesium in the third test tube, in the last copper. Okay. Here, same amount of ferrous sulfate is added. Iron sulfate plus ferrous sulfate. Here also FeSO4 and here also plus FeSO4. Okay. So in which test tube the reaction takes place? So here I will say in the test tube A and in the test tube C, the chemical reaction takes place, because in the B and C, no reaction takes place. Why the chemical reaction takes place in the test tube A and test tube C? What is the reason behind this? Here, the zinc, which is having the more reactivity than the iron, which is able to displace the iron from zinc plus FeSO4. I will write the reaction FeSO4, which forms the zinc sulfate plus Fe, which is able to displace the iron from its solution. So the zinc is having the more reactivity than the ferrous, so this reaction is possible. But here iron is not able to displace the iron, so here the reaction not takes place. In the C test tube, magnesium reacts with the ferrous sulfate. Magnesium reacts with the ferrous sulfate and forms the magnesium sulfate plus Fe. So here also the magnesium, which is having the more reactivity than the iron, so it is able to displace the iron from its solution. So for that the reaction takes place. But copper, which is having the less reactivity than the iron, copper is having the less reactivity than the iron. So because it is not able to displace the iron from its solution. Okay, so that is the reason. These reactions all based on the reactivity series. Zinc is having the more reactivity and magnesium is having the more reactivity than the zinc, then iron, then copper. So here magnesium which is having the more reactivity. Okay, so this is the answer. Write the balanced chemical equation for the following chemical reactions. How can we confirm the observation that these chemical reactions are taking place? How we can say by observing. Option A, so here first question, lead nitrate is heated, and B, sodium sulfate reacts with the barium chloride. Sodium sulfate reacts with the barium chloride. Okay, so that is the reaction here. When the lead nitrate is heated, PbNO3 twice. So this is the lead nitrate. When it is heated, it forms the lead oxide. It forms the lead oxide, nitrogen NO2, nitrogen dioxide, and the oxygen. Okay, here we can say that the reaction is taking place by observing the release of the nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen fumes will be released. By observing this, we can say that the reaction is taking place. Sodium sulfate reacts with barium chloride. It forms the barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Here we can say that the white precipitate is formed. White precipitate white precipitate will be formed. So by observing this, we can say that there is a chemical reaction taking place. Next question. Name the brown fumes liberated when the lead nitrate is heated. Write the balanced chemical equation for this reaction. When the lead nitrate is heated, PbNO3 twice, right? Lead nitrate is heated. Write the balanced chemical equation and name the brown fumes. Which fumes released when this chemical reaction takes place? So that we have to write. Please note down this question. Here, lead nitrate, when it is heated, so it releases the lead oxide and the nitrogen dioxide. NO2 gas is released here, nitrogen dioxide, and the oxygen, O2. Oxygen also releases. So this is the chemical balanced chemical equation of the when the lead nitrate is heated. Next question. Translate the following statements into chemical equations and then balance them. Okay. So statements are given that we have to convert into a chemical equation. The first sentence, that is, barium chloride reacts with aluminium sulfate and a precipitate of barium sulfate give the aluminium chloride, and it gives the aluminium chloride. The barium chloride reacts with the aluminium sulfate. Aluminium chloride and barium sulfate is formed here. So we should write the balanced chemical reaction here. So how we can write the balanced chemical reaction? Here barium chloride, here barium is same, but chlorine is 2, here chlorine means 3. Aluminium is 2 here, here aluminium is only 1, and sulfate SO4, here SO4 thrice, right? So we have to balance this reaction. I will add 2, sorry, here 2AlCl3, then aluminium is balanced, but we have to balance the sulfate oxygen, okay? 4 3 is 12 oxygen is here, but here I will add 3 BaSO4. Yes, now sulfate is balanced, oxygen also balanced, but barium is not balanced here. I will add the barium, 3 barium, okay? 3 barium chloride, then here also 3 barium, but chlorine, see the chlorine here, 3 2s are 6 chlorine, here also 6 chlorine. So now it is a balanced chemical reaction. Just check whether it is correct or not. The balanced chemical reaction. Next question. Potassium metal, that is the potash, this is the metal, reacts with water, H2O, and give the potassium hydroxide, okay? Potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas here. Potassium hydroxide and the hydrogen gas. Check whether it is balanced or not. Potassium, that is same. Hydrogen, that is also same. Oxygen, hydrogen here 2 and here 1. 3 hydrogen is there here. 3 hydrogen, here only 2 hydrogen. Okay, so that is not balanced. I will add the 2H2O to balance the hydrogen, then 2KOH, 2 oxygens, 4 hydrogen, here 2 oxygen, 2 twos are 4 hydrogen here, here also 4 hydrogen, but we have to balance the potassium here. Potassium also 2 potassium, here also 2 potassium, oxygen to oxygen, same in the reactant and the product, then hydrogen, that is also balanced. This is the balanced chemical reaction. Question. Balance the following chemical reaction. HNO3, so when it reacts with calcium hydroxide, which forms the calcium nitrate and water. Calcium nitrate and water is formed here. See the hydrogen 1, 3 hydrogen here, 2 hydrogens, oxygen 3 plus 2, 5 oxygen here, 6 plus 1, 7 oxygen, and calcium, that is same. Yes. So now we have to balance the oxygen. Okay, let us balance the oxygen here. 3 plus 2, 5 here. This is a 6, 7. Okay. So I will add the 2 oxygen molecules now here. 6 oxygen. Then here 2. 6 plus 2, 8 oxygen molecules now. Right. 8 oxygen molecules. Then balance the nitrogen, that is also a 2 nitrogen, and that is also nitrogen also balanced. Then balance the hydrogen here. Total 2 plus 2, 4 hydrogen. Here only 2 hydrogen. Here 2 plus 2. Only 2 plus 2. That is 4 hydrogen. I will add the 2 hydrogen here. Now hydrogen is balanced. Check the oxygen. 2 oxygen plus 6 oxygen, that is also 8, and here also 6 plus 2, yes, that is also balanced. This is the balanced chemical reaction. Next question. Sodium hydroxide when reacts with the H2SO4 sulfuric acid, which forms the sodium sulfate and water. So try to balance this reaction. Sodium, that is here 2 sodium, here only 1, so I will add 2 sodium. Now check the sodium oxygen, here 4 plus 1, 5, here 2, 4 plus 2, 6 oxygen. Then here hydrogen, 2 plus 2, 4, here only 2. I will add the 2 here, 2, 2, 4 hydrogen, here also 2 plus 2, 4 hydrogen, then oxygen, 4 plus 2, 6, and here 2 plus 4, 6 oxygen, sulfur, that is same thing. So this is the balanced chemical equation. Okay. Sodium chloride, when reacts with the silver nitrate, it forms the silver chloride plus sodium nitrate. Try to balance this reaction. Sodium, that is same, and chlorine, that is also same, silver, that is same, and nitrate, NO3 and O3, both are same. So there is no need to balance this reaction. Already this reaction is balanced. Okay. So there is no need to balance the reaction. Barium chloride reacts with the sulfuric acid. It forms the barium sulfate and hydrochloric acid. Okay. Barium chloride. So check the barium, that is same in the product and the reactant, and the chlorine. Chlorine, that is different. Cl2 is there here, only HCl is there, right? So I will add the 2. Chlorine is balanced. Check the hydrogen here, 2 hydrogen, here also 2 hydrogen, sulfate same, and oxygen also same. So now it is balanced. Write the balanced chemical equations for the following reactions. Here word reaction is given. You have to write the chemical reaction, balanced chemical reaction. Okay. Calcium hydroxide, when reacts with the carbon dioxide, it forms the calcium carbonate and water. When the calcium hydroxide, which reacts with the carbon dioxide, so which forms the calcium carbonate and water. Try to balance this reaction. Calcium, that is same. Hydrogen, that is also same. Oxygen here, 1, 2, 3. Here 3 plus 1, 4 oxygen molecules are there. Carbon is same. Okay. So let us balance the 2 plus 2, 4 oxygen here. Only 3 plus 1. So I will add the 2 oxygen will become 5. So this is a 6 plus 1, 7 oxygen molecules will be there. If I add the 2 here, okay, let us balance the oxygen. 2 plus 2, 4 here, 3 plus 1, 4. Yes, it is balanced. Not 3 here, it is 1, sorry, it is 2, and it is 2, 4, and 3 plus 1, 4, balanced. Okay, already this reaction is balanced chemical reaction. Then zinc reacts with the silver nitrate, which forms the zinc nitrate and silver. Try to balance this reaction. Zinc, that is same, and silver, so that is also same. But nitrate here, 2 nitrate and 6 oxygen. So I will add the 2 here to balance this reaction. 2 Ag plus 2 nitrate plus 6 oxygen. Here also 2 nitrate plus 6 oxygen. But here Ag, again I will add 2 here. So now it is balanced. Now it is the balanced chemical equation. Okay. Aluminium plus copper, copper chloride. Aluminium chloride plus copper is formed. aluminium plus copper chloride. So it forms the aluminium chloride plus copper. Okay. Here aluminium is same, but chlorine here too. In the product you can see the 3 atoms. Chlorine, copper is same. So we have to, I will add the 2 3s are 6 chlorine here, and here 3 2s are 6 chlorine. Chlorine is balanced, but copper, I will add the 2 aluminium to balance this reaction. Here also 2 aluminium and here also 2 aluminium. And copper, here we'll add the 3 copper. Here also 3 copper and here also 3 copper atoms. Okay. This is the balanced chemical equation. This is the balanced chemical reaction. Barium chloride, so which reacts with the potassium sulfate, which forms the barium sulfate and potassium chloride. Okay. So dear students, try to balance this reaction. Check the barium in the reactant and the product. Yes, barium is same. Chlorine, that is here 2, but here only 1. Potassium, that is 2 here, only 1. Sulfate, that is same. So sulfur and oxygen, that is same. So to balance this reaction, I will add the 2KCl here. Okay. Now potassium is balanced. Check the chlorine. Chlorine also balanced here. Okay. Yes. So dear students, I will end the class here. I hope this session will be useful for your board exam. Okay. Thank you, dear students.